never stop to notice the fire in your head, burning so consuming. But now I understand.
Hello there, Servum17 once again. This is my Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 6-score walkthrough. That right there, what we just grabbed was the DVD. This is the tape. And we're going to be doing the free skate objectives. The next one is going to be skate. However, this one's going to be quite messy, because I was by no means back into the flow of things at this point. And this game just doesn't kind of work, guys. I haven't really had too much opportunity to talk about, but there are features in it that it's really baffling. I'm going to honestly say do not buy this game. It is a waste of money, especially if you have any kind of like love for Tony Hawk, because it's just going to ruin it for you in a lot of ways. And for the most, it can be playable when you're not having any of the game bugs or any of the glitches. There is a game here that is playable, but it is a bare bones Tony Hawk experience with levels designed that are not even as good as some of the levels that people designed back when you could create your own levels in those older games. Like, they feel like interns made them because they don't have the same kind of flow. They're not that interesting. There's no real imagination to them or anything. It's kind of baffling that they made it into the game. And when you consider that there's only about 6 levels in the game, and one of them is ripped directly out of, I think, Tony Hawk 3, which is the bunker level, which was an amazing level for its time, but they've put it in this game and they've somehow made it worse, because everything in this game makes things worse. But this objective now is to smash the tikis, and I don't actually know where they are, so I'm just going to skate around and smash them. It's not a challenging objective, it's hard to see stuff because, you know, they don't really stand out. Nothing really pops in this game. It's such a just unappealing game visually. It's hilarious. But the real issue is the mechanical stuff. There's a technique in all Tony Hawk games called kissing a rail, which I assume it's a skater term because it's what I've always known it by. It's where somebody goes to do a grind, but there isn't enough rail left or surface left, so they end up doing a grind and then immediately coming off it. And that is something that always happens in Tony Hawk's. It's a part of Tony Hawk's. Well, on this game, surfaces will drop your grind because it just doesn't work. And it doesn't do this all the time, so for 90% of my experience with the game I had no issue, but the 10% where I did made some of the goals absolutely hellish. And there's one level later on called the Asteroid Belt, and the rails on that level are fucking broken. It is an absolute utter disgrace. I was on it the other day for an hour and 40 minutes doing a collect a bunch of bullshit mission, which, admittedly, I do think they're very tricky, and they do have quite strict time limits, but the only reason I couldn't fucking do it is because every time I had a really good run going, he'd fall off a bloody rail mid-rail and bail, and I'd drop everything. Like, countless instances of just stupid, nonsensical moments where he wouldn't grind, even though I'm on the rail. Like, so aggravating. And it got to the point where I was mashing grind so that if it dropped the first input, dropped the second input, or kissed the rail, I would still end up grinding it because it just, you couldn't trust it. And I didn't really come across this at all. I had instances of it and I was just like, we'll get on with it. But when you have it so close together on something where you have to be flawless in your execution, it just highlighted every issue that this game has, and it has so many to begin with. It's kind of hilarious, and you might wonder why I'm not going into all the things wrong. It's because there's too fucking much. I'd be here all night. There's just no need. All you have to do is, do you want to play Tony Hawk's and you don't really want an evolution or any kind of progression, or not even reaching the peaks of the enjoyment that you had with the ones you used to love? Well, this is the perfect experience for you, but don't give Activision any fucking money for it. And if you see Tony Hawk, slap him in the face and ask him why he marketed it. Because I like Tony Hawk. This is a dude who's like nearly 50 and he still skateboards. I don't know anybody who still skateboards. We all did it when we were younger, but it's kind of, it's like ghost stories. You just kind of grow out of it. Which is a completely ridiculous thing to say because it's not true. If you like skateboarding, that's awesome. But you know what I mean? Like, is skateboarding still big anymore? I don't think it is. There's probably a fantastic niche of people that love it, but like, who's making new skate moves and doing new skate stuff? I just don't see it. I see nothing in this game I've not seen before. Like, when I was interested in it, it seemed just a little bit more exciting because it didn't have the full media awareness, and it still probably doesn't, because as you know, the commercial media is generally very ignorant. They think video games are for children and for murderers, and they probably think skateboarding is something Marilyn Manson created when he was not telling your kids to rape and murder. But like, I think it's awesome that Tony Hawk still does it and supports this sport that he loves, and he's even got his kid in this game, so his kid's obviously taking after his dad and everything. But this is not how you represent your game, by having a completely piss-poor subpar game. And I appreciate it probably didn't have too much to do with it. It's just kind of his name, his brand, and then it's the game devs to blame. But at the same time, he played this game, dude. And I don't know, is Tony Hawk's bad at Tony Hawk's? Does he not know what a good Tony Hawk's feels like? I couldn't honestly tell you. But he went on, I forget the name of that redhead American dude who's not funny, but he went on that program, I think, is it Conan? I think it's called Conan. He went on there, and Conan was playing the game, and he was marketing it, and it's just like, Tony, why are you not saying, like, this is a piece of dog shit, don't buy it? Which is the difference between me and Tony Hawk, I guess. If this was my game, I would be tearing up a storm in their office. I would be on a fucking warpath. Like, you would not want to be in my face the day I've played this and it had my name on it. And I'm not even a skateboarder. Like, the peak of my skateboarding career is I could kickflip when I wasn't moving. Like in the garden, so I didn't break anything when I fell down. You know, that is the extent of it. But here is the Tony Sayers game. So there's something to know about this, folks. If you get a bad path, i.e. if the AI tells you to do a bunch of shit that's hard to do and isn't quick, sometimes the score on these can be very difficult to get. Sometimes I would argue that they're impossible to get. Later on, you're going to do special moves, you're going to do stalls and pickaxe bullshit on the edge of ramps, and if there's not a ramp close to you and by the time you get there you get a grind by accident, it's just worth restarting. So my advice, restart until you get a streak, because this is all about streaking. Do not worry about the time, just focus on being precise and doing what it says. If you can do that, you're fine. If you get a bad pattern, there's nothing you can really do except restart. Just wait for that path where you get a ton of grinds or a ton of kickflips or something that all plays into each other, and you should be fine. But I think this is the hardest level in the game, and it's only the second mission, and I say this because there's two objectives on this that took me ages to do, because on the first one, I just couldn't do it. I just could not go fast enough, and I did not understand how you meant to do it. The second one was all about detection. I kept missing jewels, grind jewels, manual jewels, all that kind of stuff, when I was doing it on them perfectly and the game wasn't registering it. So you want to be aware of that too. And of course the obligatory, dropping my grinds, dropping my manuals and things. Everything else is straight up you though, because there's a ton of times where I've messed up on this game, and it's been me. And I love that, because I know if I don't turn enough and I land badly, I know if I hold a stunt too long, or if I do too much, or I don't jump high enough and things. But this game has input drops as well, which is hilarious, because you'll ollie, you'll press kickflip, it won't happen, and then he'll do it as he's coming down and he'll break his leg. What's the point? But these are the hardest objectives in the game, I think. You have to collect an amount of items and then take it back to a certain point, and you're timed to do it. If you fall over, you'll drop them. So it's best to bank them about halfway through, or if you're confident, get them all on the first run. Something worth knowing, when you bank them, it respawns the ones you picked up. So the thing that's tricky about this is finding a path. If you can find a path where you get about half the amount that you need in a decent clip, then you've got it in the bag. All you then have to do is execution. But execution gets quite difficult when there are moments where you will do things that you didn't do, or it won't grind when you tell him to and things, or when you land perfectly and you still fall over, which does happen, but it's very rare. So this is the path that I found. Go over the ramp, grind up onto this, from here move towards that house to the right, go up the ramp, grind the lip, and then go up those two ramps in front, and then just make your way back there. And it's a path that will work for you, but it's never comfortable, and something worth knowing, on every objective, if you keep your combo going with manuals after the time limit, you will not get stopped. So if you have a ton and the time runs out, go into a manual and manual towards the goal. If you can get there, you can still pass it. You're not going to see too many evidence of this until we get to the last one, which is the hardest one by far. But there you go, folks, 76. Very close though, wasn't it? Those are the ones you're going to struggle on because it's all about finding your path. This is the one that I found really hard. It's easy to do, but the detection's funky. So you have to grind this, jump here, grind on this, and then this bit here. There are times when you will drop those orbs. There are times when you'll drop the orbs on here when you're grinding for some reason. And then this corner here, I dropped a few. And I couldn't tell you why, because you're going to see, of course, the one where it went right. But if you look at this pattern, it's very easy. This is not tough to do. I've been doing this since Tony Hawk 1 back when I was in primary school. Like, it wasn't primary school, it was secondary school. But you know what I mean. And there it is. Looks easy, doesn't it? That might have took me about 20 attempts. Because there were moments where I'd have one left and I'd look around and it had been something I grinded or something I jumped and it didn't pick it up. So, very picky bullshit. And then there's this. This is the hardest one on the level. Light all these torches in under 15 seconds. This is one of those where it's like... I think it's just pure luck, dude, getting it so fast. But I go up onto the top, I drop onto the bottom, and then after I light the bottom ones, I go up the ramp, and then I hit the ones at the top. But you really need to know which ones you don't have lit, and getting it is a work of art. So that looked easy, didn't it? That took me a long time. That took me at least about 30 minutes to get that bullshit. And it's a 15-second stint, so it's long. And this, I don't like this at all. So this is get a bunch of scores on this vert ramp. And then the whole point of it is not to do vert ramp scores. It's to do bullshit grinds. Like, it's so misleading. There's going to be people there who think that's impossible because they're trying to jump and do stunts, and it doesn't work. You can't get 150,000 points without grinding. You just can't do it. Unless you, I don't know, you cheat or something, or you do some crazy thing. But this isn't a fun one. When you do a flip trick, you fire out missiles/fireworks, and you have to destroy all the targets, and it's quite lenient. Additionally, if you do a jump trick through it, it will break it as well, which is cool. So you don't have to be too precise here. You can get up in its face. You just always want to be pressing R2 to make him push, so he goes faster, so you're always moving at a good speed, just to squeeze out some of those extra precious seconds. And the time limit here is good. You know, it's quite lenient compared to some of the objectives. But still, you know, it can be still quite close, and we get it there. So not too bad at all. That's one of those that you can probably do after. Once you know your path, you can do that in maybe 5 minutes. And then we have this, which is Voodoo Doll Vanquisher. Collect voodoo dolls with high trick multiplier. So the technique for this is either pick a lot up or get a really high multiplier and then pick a few up. I fluctuate in how I approach these. A really good strategy for these is to find an area where you can maybe grind around something or do a couple jumps and get a bunch of dolls, build up your style and then come back, because they do respawn. But you're at the mercy here of the level design, and some of the levels just do not have nice flow. The flow in them is seriously lacking. Like, the hardest... that was bad. The hardest thing about the asteroid belt, other than the shitty frame rate that makes it almost completely fucking unplayable, and the horrible bounce physics and the terrible level design, is just, it has this continuous lack of flow. It's overly convoluted in a bad way, because they've put grind rails everywhere and none of them are complete. They're all like connecting to other things and jumping off and jumping down, and all they do is drop your grind all the time. It's a nightmare. But there you go, folks. That is all of the 6 cores on the Bonfire Beach. I wish you Godspeed with some of these, because if you get stuck on them, and it's actually honestly not your fault that you dropped a potentially good run, there's nothing more frustrating. When it's your fault, play better. When it's the game's fault, fuck you. Like, there's no need, dude. But thank you for watching. You take care now.